All right, Brandy. So it's funny. Darren was out on the table outside when we were sitting there hanging out and rapping a little bit, and he goes, "You were there, actually." He goes, "Where did the hippie come from?" Right? Like who gave you this hippie thing? So welcome to the show. A loose format, like I said, and we've talked about it a little bit in just regards to relationship and how we can self-sabotage them or what makes them successful, what kind of obstacles we can remove in our lives to have healthier relationships or what are, all that kind of stuff. And just spoke with Darren, as you well know. So first question is, did you actually not listen, right? Like we knew you wouldn't, but I have to hear it out loud for the audience. You definitely did not have your ear to the door and you don't know anything that Darren really said other than a few words here and there, I think, right?
Well, I think I just got lazy.
You got lazy. You just didn't care. You got in that show. What's the show you're watching right now?
It was La Brea.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
A little humiliating that we just memorialize that.
We sure did. It's all right. It's time to bring it up. We're in real time, right?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So once again, I'm here in Brandy and Darren's home. I'm really thankful to be here. I'm thankful you're my friend. I'm thankful I'm your friend. You know me a long time. Darren and I was just talking a little bit about when we all met and then the crazy shortly after lived when you guys kind of finally moved in together in the condo and everything. You saw my life all melt apart and saw me in one of my darkest hours at that point. Nikki was on the show and we relived that together on one of the podcasts.
That's beautiful.
Right?
Intense.
Intense.
Beautiful.
Right? Yeah, intense, exactly. So, but very healing, I think, for both of us has gone beyond the show. You were there. And you and I have become friends since that time, right? Independent from Darren. Darren and I were kind of chums and work buddies and friends.
You're 100%
and you and I were
mine.
Well, yeah, right? Exactly.
I don't even loan you to him.
I don't even text Darren much anymore. It's always
it's
you.
Me and you.
Yeah,
I mean, let's just be real.
Right.
You're my Heath.
I know,
There's
exactly.
a reason I call you my Heath.
That's why I had to bring it up right on the show, right?
Thank you so much. You heard it here, folks. It's in writing.
It's fact. It's fact. There's no doubt about it. So we were just talking outside, actually, and you were kind of sharing the story about how you grew up and a little bit of the regional differences of how you grew up and how Darren grew up. And, kind of what your dating life and experiences was before and what his marriage and life were before marriages, right? You want to repeat that a little bit? You want to give us a little take on how you and Darren met and what two kind of different people came together?
Oh, goodness. Okay. So I was running my own consulting business and I had plans to go out for CES, which is the Computer Electronics Show in Las Vegas at the beginning of the year. And one of my clients said they had run, this is how old I am. They had this compression technology for video, which makes things run faster, right, on the internet. And they said, look, we're thinking that the adult space could be like a good foray for us. Could you go in and give us an analysis?
It happens to be happening at the same time in Vegas every year. It's kind of the running joke. If you don't know this, there's an AV and a porn conference that happens at the same time CES does. And so it's the largest adult conference that bleeds in like murk, brackish water into this very huge technology conference. So yeah, so you're going there for the very big, huge, legitimate, above the line
I'm
technology
launching
business.
True TV. Like I've got all this cool stuff going on. And then this client who I just really love him is like, I need you to do this thing.
Could you just bounce on over to the porn trade show over there and just see if our technology can, have any legs over there?
Right.
Pretty much like that.
Right. And so you need to know, I'm not a prude, but like the one time I bought a porno flick, is when they were VHS tapes. And my girlfriend and I walked into the little room at the local video store with the blue light with like our trench coats on and glasses.
Right, yeah. And windows were covered over. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
we extract and then the fucking thing broke in my parents' machine.
Oh no.
I never got I don't even think at that point I'd really even seen a porno, right? And I always tell people I'm fearless in many ways. Like I taught myself how to drive standard basically on the Amalfi Coast. Because I decided I want to take a train. Being in a car would be so much better. Like, what an asshole. But I did it. So, like, I walked barefoot in Yonkers, like in Manhattan by myself, 3 a.m. Like, homie, just don't care. The porn thing was a little weird.
That paints a picture. Yeah, exactly.
And so here's my mother, like the epitome of sophistication. Like I told you, I fly out there. My mother goes, have you met any men? And I'm like, Mom, at a fucking porn show. Would you grow up?
Totally.
It's an honest day's living, darling. I'm like, so it was crazy for me. I did research and I connected with people ahead of time. And it was pretty cool because the people I connected with were all people that basically stayed in my life and were pillars of the adult space. So here I am. I'm at the show. And the first booth I walk in and I walk up to the biggest booth. And I say to whoever I see, I'd like to speak to like the BMOC, right? Like the big man in charge. And they pointed me to Darren. And so he took me into like a special area in this like monstrosity of I mean, it was
A
like
booth,
this,
yeah.
my
These are
God,
big
this,
invested booth at the time. This was prime time in the era of pornography.
it was like a
and-
70-foot
Yeah,
booth
yeah,
with like an
crazy.
upstairs and a downstairs. And so anyway, I can tell that he's just being polite and allowing me to kind of go through my little pitch. But he was nice enough to do that. And that was it. I was like, oh, thank you so much. And people had told me that in order to do business in the adult space, you have to like meet them at the evening events. They want to break bread with you. So I kept saying to people like, what events are you going to? What, right? So I could take the consensus. And that night I went out and I kept seeing Darren in people's faces, but not like in a, oh my God.
Yeah, right. No,
Right?
right.
It was
like
just a weird
a
thing.
familiarity or something.
I saw him the next day and I go, my God, that was super casual to me. Like, it was so weird. I kept seeing you on people last night. And then I went off. And then that night I went out to a party, which everyone takes credit to, like, I got you into the VIP area. I'm like, I got me.
Yeah, you always get you
No, it's
and
okay.
us into the VIP area.
No, but it was just
Yeah,
funny.
I get it. Yeah.
I introduced you to Darren. I'm like,
Yeah. Okay.
but no, I mean, if it makes them feel good, why not? So I was just about to leave this place, and all of a sudden, there's Darren. And it was like the lights shone, and the crowd parted. And like he says,
It's like the show's over, everything's kind of breaking down. It's
no,
or is
so
this
sorry.
another
We're in
place?
an evening event.
Oh,
I'm
an evening
so
event. That's
sorry.
right. Okay,
It's because
yeah,
I ate all the food and you guys did the interview. Now I'm in a food coma.
Yeah, I got you. I'm just
Should've
checking with you.
gone
I'm tracking with you.
first.
Okay, so you're at one of the. Oh, that's right. So you now go out, go to the
It's
after
the
hours.
second night. Right.
yeah.
It's the second
Last
night.
night, scrap work. Yeah.
And no, it's not the next night.
okay.
Not the last night.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the next night.
The next night,
Because
I
we
got
still
it.
had the players' ball.
Oh, that's right. That's
That's
right.
for fireworks, really. No, I'm
Okay,
kidding.
okay.
So the crazy thing is, he's like, there you are. He doesn't realize that's coming out of his mouth,
Yeah.
right?
Slip that one
And
out.
then he says to me, you want to leave? Okay, so hi.
That
Any of my
explains.
friends, right? I got into a limo with a pornographer that I didn't know, right? Like I had a 5-minute meeting with him and then saw him again. Went to his suite at the Venetian, which people kept walking up all over Vegas and being like, you want drugs? You want drugs? So finally I accepted someone's drugs because I figured, like if you're holding it as an energy
Yeah,
thing.
you can just, yeah.
So I had a pill in my pocket. So not only did I go up to a guy's room that I didn't know in a limo, and then I whipped out
Your
like
little pill?
like my
Look what I
stranger
got.
danger pill, right?
That's hilarious.
So we do this thing.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. Hey, hello.
Like it's so great. like
Nice to
I
meet
broke
you.
every rule. Like if one of my friends told me they did this, I'd be
Yeah.
like, "Hi, I'm putting Velcro up in a closet and throwing you in there forever."
That's right. Yeah. You do not get to go out of the house anymore. Yeah.
Exactly. You are not an adult. You have poor decision making.
Seriously.
And then we went downstairs. And then I continued to still be like weirdly outside of myself because I met this guy. Well, I won't say his name. So anyway, someone you know.
Yeah.
And he's playing by himself. He took over a whole blackjack table. And I'm so respectful of the game, right?
Yeah, right.
So I walk up because Darren, every 2 steps, Darren gets like, because he was like this superhero, right? So every 2 steps, he'd be stopped. So he's talking to people. You know me, I can't just stand there. So I say to this
yeah, he was a
guy,
professional celebrity is what she's talking about, in a sense. Like he was just
like
celebrity in this
everybody
industry,
knew
everybody-
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like,
Mhm.
so no, we can make a really obnoxious comment as to why. It's not the reason you're thinking. It may be my reason.
Okay.
No. So, oh my God, it was so crazy. So this poor guy, this is so extemporaneous, silly. But so I said to him, can I bum a quarter from you? Right. And then he gives me, he put the $25 down. I get 2 aces. I stole the poor guy's card. Like he's on his own table just so we could have that hand.
That's hilarious. I know.
And then I'm like, can I bum another quarter? Because I got to split the aces.
Wow.
Right. So then I got blackjack. Then I tried to give him all the money. Then he was like, don't give me all the money. Anyway, so 5 minutes later, Darren's like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, oh, I'm $1,000 up.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
It was amazing. But the end result is we ended up spending all of this time together in Vegas. He needed to leave. I needed to go on to my next conference. And it was just, we had a really good time together. It was romantic. It was intellectual. It was awesome. And he went to leave. And he said to me, it was so nice to meet you. I'm sure I'll speak to you in the near future.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, excuse me? Like, that was weird, right? Because like my psychology is, I always can tell if a guy likes me up front, but it's when I get really invested. That's when I get panicked sometimes, right? Previously. So yeah, and I said, so can you do me a favor? Can you text me and let me know you got home safe? Because that's just the kind of person I am. And he did. And thank God I had a really busy conference because that bitch didn't hit me up like at all.
At all.
Like,
He was playing it super cool.
oh my God. I didn't know what it was. And then I get home, and the day after I get home, I get this voicemail because we had this like running joke about we went to see Cirque du Soleil on horseback, which was not a good experience.
It sounds like a whole other episode.
It is a whole other episode. But we were talking about Chagall's, but then cheval is a horse. Okay. So he calls, I get this message. Hi, this is Dave from Dave's Frame Shop. We got a cheval Chagall to hang on your wall, right? And then I started getting these emails because we started to dance when we were at the coffee shop at the Bellagio. Thank you. It's the food coma, people. I'm sorry.
You're on it. You're on it.
They
You're on fire.
fed me.
Always.
I should have spoke first, eat later. Anyway, so we got up and danced to Dancing Cheek to Cheek. So he looked it up, Irving Berlin, circa 1950 something, and he started sending me like verses and then added his own beautiful words to it. And thus, a relationship was born.
Boom. And there it was.
That's it.
Yeah. You get it. So then here you are today.
Yes.
Right? 20 years
Fresh
later.
as a daisy.
Fresh as a daisy. Before we go to any of that, I can't really think about, I mean, we talk about influences and who are our most invaluable influences, kind of who are the embodiment of help make us who we are today. And, Darren and I talked a little bit on maturity fronts of, times in our life, but Bev, right? Do you want to give us a little bit about your mom and just, share some of her life and what she's done? And I think it would give everybody a little character on, and you do such good Bev impressions. So I just think it'd be so fun to just have a few of them sneak back out. But
am I kiddling with you, darling? Don't kiddle with me. Speaking to my microphone.
Oh my gosh, she's so cool and graceful the way she comes right out of you when you do those.
But she was so elegant.
That's what I mean, elegant.
But I'm not elegant. Like she could say darling, and it just purred like Burr out of his, Okay, so here we go. My mother was the governor's advisor to physical fitness and sports for 12 years in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. She headed up the Commission for the Elderly. She helped start the Special Olympics. She wrote a bunch of books. Her first book was entitled, I'd Like to See Less of You, but she meant it only in the nicest way. She had her own syndicated newspaper column, radio show, TV show, lectured nationwide. Like, my mother was a ball of pioneering. If you can think it, you can make it happen. Like, truly, the world is your oyster, right? Why not? Path may not be straight, but just keep on going. And my dad was a doctor, and they were both very opposite from each other, but yet they had this beautiful symbiosis that worked for them. So I grew up very different from Darren. Like I grew up at the Ritz-Carlton in Boston. We had crazy people at our house. Like you came to our house on Sunday brunch, it would be like the chairman of the board for ABC, the guy that washed the cars down the corner, like just like a collection of people that my parents enjoyed. They never really gave thought to class and caste and all of that. And I think because of my parents' work ethic and who they were, I jumped very quickly into the workplace. And when I was a freshman in college, I was myself and two Harvard Business School grads and a few random people. We started a company that variably had an early exit pretty quickly after.
You've just believed it.
It's just, it is
what it is. Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And, I've always prescribed to the philosophy it's easier to fall down a flight of stairs than it is to crawl back up. So go for the stars. Can you catch one? Good for you. You don't catch one? Well, look how high you got, right? Easier than doing this all that, scaling the side of something.
Totally. And so Darren, wasn't your traditional dating style? I mean,
No.
the chemistry style, the look, the
Nothing.
Nothing?
Like there was nothing.
Anything on the list at all?
No.
No. Yeah.
Well, no.
I know, I mean,
Let me not say that.
Yeah.
His personality.
That's such a great comment. Don't say that. I can't edit that piece out. I'm sorry. You know what? His personality was really, that was the thing.
Gorgeous blue eyes and really big hands. Okay. No. So he is everything, but on paper, he's not.
Right.
So, okay. Full transparency. I've never been one like you have to be a specific look, except I do like men 6 feet or higher. Right. And he's like, he kind of like grazes
5'10" and a half.
We're getting like 5'11". 5'11".
Almost. I don't know if you stretch that mark.
His
feet
can.
might be getting bigger.
Oh no, that bitch needs to stand up straight, right? If he lengthens his spine, he's at 6 feet. I'm pretty certain of it.
Okay, good.
Stand up, posture,
Right,
Darren,
right,
posture.
right.
But no, he was a guy that was, I dated the kind of guys that probably my mother expected me to for the most part, right? Like the heir to Sambuca Ramana, big time attorneys, la 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 la. And I had a great time with, like, I'm very, very lucky.
Sure. I've had those exposures and experiences.
It was
and
lovely.
Be adored by those kinds of individuals as well. Or appreciated. And adored.
Yeah, no, of course. But 100%. I mean, I'm very grateful. Like, I've had really good relationships, and each relationship you have gets you closer to, if you want to have a monogamous relationship, the one that will endure, as long as you don't settle too quickly. Right? Because I think in life you can settle very, very quickly instead of, really pushing forward and saying, here's the things that are I believe deeply, you can't have everything you want in life, but you can have your priorities. So I think sometimes people don't always take that into account, and they make decisions based off of timing, based off of what's happening in the world around them. Like, I didn't want to get married unless it was with someone that I really was symbiotic with.
And you hadn't been married at this time, right?
I'd never been married.
Darren had been married twice. Right. And had
3 kids.
3 kids already.
Oh my God. With like 2 psycho women.
Oh, and the ex-wives are psychos.
Oh my God. And not really attractive, which is like.
And then that's a slap in the face.
Oh my God, you get it. We were just talking about this. You get it. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Which then again makes it wrong about me, right?
Right, exactly.
Like if you're with ugly psycho chicks.
Yeah, right.
What does that say about me?
What's your style? What are you attracted to?
Right? Like he can feel good and be like, my wife dated the heir.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying that drink? My husband, my wife fucked him. Right?
I love that. Yeah.
What do I get to say?
You get to say, no, it's not looking good, not on the paper, but
it's not right.
In real world too. But
you know what? I leaned in because it was so strong. And it was so good. Like, it was so good. I just felt it. And when I say I felt it, none of the pit in your stomach turning freaky, just this sense of zen. Like, every word that came out of my mouth just flowed. I didn't edit myself. I didn't create a version of myself that I thought would be attractive to somebody. I was just me.
I've thought about you guys, I don't get to say this very often, where I feel like 2 people have shared a true love story, and it has stood the test of time, right? There's plenty of love stories, but to have it be as good as it is, and it's still a love story today, right? It's like,
oh yeah.
I mean, obviously everybody goes through relationship pitfalls and all the things, but you guys were our love story, or was it just the right timing, right location, chemistry? It's not a love story. I'm just curious. I mean, how do
I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, I think it is, right? But I mean, sometimes you can just say luck. I guess luck and proximity. Like, was it just lucky that you guys found each other? Was it souls that you guys were
we
meant
like to say that we're soulmates.
Okay,
so don't take that story. No, I'm kidding. I'm like, don't take that story away. No, I think, because I think it's so interesting, right? What are the odds? I've been going to CES for several years that I would be asked to do this thing, which ironically, out of every industry I've ever worked in, and I went kicking and screaming into the adult, my favorite industry ever.
Still, yeah.
Like the best people, the smartest minds. Like we wouldn't have payment processing online. We wouldn't have Netflix and
so many great innovators and good people and family people and, healthy human beings who participate to that industry,
and
for sure.
Had I never had the exposure, I would have been like those filthy, dirty.
Exactly.
Right.
Everybody has that image.
100%. But so, just to say, I have exquisite taste in the people in the porn, and it's not all of them.
The best, yeah.
But it really is. It was wonderful. So I like to think that I was living in Fort Lauderdale when I met him. A lot of people in South Florida, and a lot of people that come in and out of South Florida. He was living at the time between Colorado and Los Angeles. A lot of people there. And then a lot of people in Vegas. So what are the odds? And I also had a thing where I don't hook up with people in business. I just think it's messy. So this was,
Totally out of the
what are the
range,
odds? Yeah. And I also have to pace myself. I've got another hardcore, what is CES, like 6 or 7 days,
exactly,
right?
Yeah, falling in love was not a plan on this tour at all.
No, I had to pay my bill. I had people with contracts with me. So I like to think that it was a divine intervention. Like we absolutely were meant to meet. And maybe there was an option. Like if we had the fortitude, then we'd have the joy to see through the fact that we weren't everything on each other's list, maybe. What the fuck's a list for anyway? To remind you of what you want when what you want is right in front of you.
And you've said this, there was always an ease. You'd mentioned it even the other night, right? And I think that ease is out of the gates, but obviously you guys have seemingly gotten even easier, if you were more at ease, through the rest of your, now. I mean, I think, I don't want to project your relationship on you, but I've never seen you guys even more comfortable than you are now than you were then, right? I mean, together in each other's presence, at least.
We are. I think we have a really good time together. Like we do. Not that we don't have issues.
Right, of course.
Not that we don't fight or any of that, because that's a bunch of bullshit. But I think that we really like each other.
Enjoy each other's company.
Like we choose to be together. If we didn't choose to be together, we wouldn't be together. There's no other reason.
You guys are like work, play, live. I mean, you guys are together, right? There's nobody goes off to the office during the day in your relationship.
No, not anymore.
No.
Even we had an office, we hookied together all the time.
Exactly,
we're like going in. You know, it's interesting. Something I knew at an early age, I wanted to be married to someone I worked with. Because I think for me, I've always loved business. I wanted someone that had the same goals and the same agenda, right? Like you and I are business partners. So now you got 2 kids in college. So you're making business decisions to get your kids through college. Maybe I want new tits, right? So it's hard, right? So I love the idea of we work on the same team. We've got the same goals and objectives. We beautifully complement each other from a skill perspective. And then the nice thing is when I talk to, like when I come home at night,
When I come home
from the living room,
back porch,
you know, and I'm like, and I tell him who I was on the phone with. Like, it's not like, oh my God, who cares about Carol in accounting? Like, I'll never meet her. I don't care about her, right?
Right.
He knows everybody. And if he doesn't know everybody, he's got a vested interest to hear these stories. So I think, like, that's a cool thing.
Yeah.
Party on.
Party on. So you kind of had an idea that that's kind of how you see the
Why did I say
success
that?
of a relationship.
Party on?
It's the new hair. It's the new dye, baby.
I
It's the new color. It's like party on, baby.
Do you think I have purple
should
hair?
I get you some bubble gum so you can do a couple of bubbles and pops?
Oh my God. Wait, I think our doorbell should ring and it should be, what's his, oh, come on. Excellent Bill and Ted. Super Keanu Reeves. Did you get him for me tonight? That's so nice.
Bring him home with this, man.
Oh, wait, we're talking about my love
That's
for
right,
Darren.
you're Darren.
What are
Yeah,
we
sorry,
supposed to
Keanu.
inspire your
We'll
listeners?
get back to you on another episode.
Sorry.
That's funny. So you said you fight. Obviously, everybody fights. Did you have different fighting styles, or did you kind of have the same fighting style?
You
or
know.
You know.
You know.
So you tell us your side of it. What was the early stages of fighting like for you and Darren?
So for the longest time, we didn't fight. And then I was like, is there something wrong with us?
Cool. So there was a whole period of time where like you didn't fight. Right?
No.
You guys just loved each other's company, get along, right? Compliment each other. It's like a glove, you know.
It was like 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Of like
this is
blissful,
pretty
like
dang easy.
crazy.
Right, yeah.
Like, you know, and then I don't even remember what our first fight was about. But I'm from a family who we're confrontists. And I like to be a confrontist. I don't mean like a screaming in your face, but I just think that when you don't deal with stuff, you sweep it under the rug, you trip over that lump and you pull it back and it's a thick paste of shit. But it's that last thing that you think you're fighting about, which is usually something small, but like, why is everyone so emotional? Because it's not just about that, right? So I'm from a family that if we got into a fight, everyone would go, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, slam door, slam door, slam door. And then 5 minutes later go, want to go for ice cream? Yeah, let's go for ice cream. Because we dealt with it, we got it off our chest, and we fixed it. So the first time we got to a fight, he walked away from me. Oh, nobody walks away from baby.
You're walking away from this fight?
I'm like,
not important enough for your attention and time right now.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, how?
Like how is this not the priority?
we
Where
need to
the
fix
fuck are
this.
you going? Right?
We need to
fix
fix this.
Yeah.
And so,
No matter what it is.
right.
Yeah.
And so he thinks he's doing the right thing and he's walking away. And I'm like getting incensed over this because you know me, I'm patient. I have a long fuse, but when it blows, you know, I'll come at you like a hurricane full of razor blades.
Yeah.
And so he was freaked out because I'm yelling. And then he became like, I called him a turtle, right? He'd be in his shell and I couldn't get him out of his shell. And I'm like, dude, fucking talk. Like, what is your problem? We're having a fight. Tell me your side of it so you can hear my side of it so we can fucking cure this thing. And it was a long time. And finally, I mean, it's so stupid. We just realized that our child, like his childhood was full of like what we were talking about the other night. Like, hi, someone could walk up with a bloody knife and stab someone at his house. And he would remember it like it was a fun, like, oh my goodness, and the colors of red that dripped off of the knife were just gorgeous, and the illumination, you know.
Colored glasses for sure of every aspect of his childhood, even if it was bad, right? Yeah. Just make an eternal optimist of rose-colored glasses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And which I was a little jealous of
Right?
him
That's
for.
not necessarily a bad quality.
Right? Why not? So it took us a while to understand that he was taught to sweep things under the rug and be like polite and not blow up.
Let things cool down a little bit, temperature-wise or something, and, or just avoid it.
Right, or just avoid it.
Pretty much what you're saying, which you knew would be toxic.
For me.
Yeah, for you.
Well, I just can't contain myself like that. Like, I'm not that person. Like, I'm not. And that would be a deal breaker. If we couldn't bend and find a way, I am a fix it and fix it now kind of person. And that would have been really hard. So we did. We had to work really hard.
So you started on polar opposites, right? And you had to put some real time in to kind of meet in the middle in a way that it became more natural. That was work.
And now it is very natural. But it was work. Like when they say relationships are work, but it was work worth doing. And it allowed me to see a different perspective that I really hadn't had exposure to. It helped me to understand better where he's coming from so I can help him in times where he needs something and he doesn't need the Brandy with a bad approach.
Where do you think the empathy came on that? Because that stuff can take a few years to really find that total equilibrium of, comfort and knowing that you can get through a fight and get on the other side of it and know that you love each other and nobody's going anywhere and you're not coming from all that fear and all that conditioning and you've surrendered. He surrendered to your style. You understood him and why he was who he was. Why do you think you had empathy to take the time and patience to try to understand him and let him spend a couple of years to get fully out of his turtle shell experiences during these fights?
Well, it was me. I had to. I had to dial myself back and allow him, right? Because also, too, he can get really pissed off and he doesn't want to come at me. So it was both of us dialing ourselves back to the point where the other person had the ears to hear.
Or in his case, dialing himself in. I was dialed
down and he was dialing himself
in.
Right. Well stated.
Thank you.
He's so
That's why
smart.
we do this.
But it really, I think it was good for both of us, right? Because too much of anything is just not healthy. And it was just learned behavior we had from our families. So you got to, when you create a new family, you got to figure out how to blend. And you don't know until you hit certain junctures what's going to happen. So, I think we've never felt like the other one was going to ever leave. I mean, maybe at some points we probably were like,
maybe thought about it once
just
or twice.
Throw in the look. Can someone say uncle? Say uncle.
Yeah.
He's really patient with me. He's really, really patient with me, which I appreciate. But I can't explain it. We took the time to work through it. We hit an impasse. We took some time. It's not as fast as it sounds. Really allowed us, we're vulnerable to say okay, so I get it. Because if you really piss me off and you're not responding to me, I will get in your face. Do not forget, my dad was this big, huge guy who, when I was younger, had a bad temper. And my way of backing him down was getting in his face and going, you want to fuck with me, right? Or not saying it, but you know what I mean? So I'm not afraid of men. My mother trained Muhammad Ali, Sonny Liston like boxers. But when you've got an adult person in your face going, stand here and talk, but I'm in your face, he's probably afraid.
And he's emotionally vested.
I'm certain we got to points where it was someone could get hurt, physically hurt. It never went that far, but we realized it's just not healthy. One person's way is not always the right way. So you find the new blend that makes everyone feel like they're being listened to, valued, and honored. And then you can have the ears to hear.
Powerful. It makes messages. It makes messages. It makes messages. It makes messages. It makes messages.